This episode is sponsored by Squarespace. I used Squarespace to build both Basics with Babish and BingingWithBabish.com. On the sites, you'll find recipes, equipment lists, other news, and updates. All beautifully designed, if I do say so myself. Get 10% off your first Squarespace order by visiting squarespace.com/Babish.
Let's call it a day.
All right. I'm gonna pitch the tent.
Hello there, welcome back to another episode of Arcade with Alvin. This time we'll be tackling the stacked ham sandwich from Final Fantasy 15. Now this sandwich, when I first saw it, was quite a gargantuan feat, comprised of 4 independently created sandwiches, all stacked on one another. The ingredients in the game for the sandwich include sirloin, ham, and agate root, which I'm guessing is a vegetable. So 3 ingredients, not exactly what it takes to make this entire sandwich, but we will do our best anyways. There's a lot of vegetables in this sandwich, so we're gonna first slice up some sweet potato, some eggplant, and some tomatoes, all into thin little slices to be used for each component of the sandwiches. The sweet potatoes are going to get a little bit of salt to go on a tray with a little rack and go into the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes or so until they start to cook. Now the eggplant is where it gets kind of fun. In the picture it doesn't really show much, but I'm guessing there's a little bit of a glaze on these eggplants. So how about a fried eggplant sauteed in a nice glaze? So I'm simply tossing the slices of eggplant in a handful of cornstarch and heating up about a ½ inch of oil in a pan. They've started to smoke the oil a bit, but we're not going to waste this, so we're going to throw in the eggplant right away to cool down the temperature of the oil. These are just going to fry for about 2 minutes per side until the eggplants are golden brown, and these come out to rest on a sheet tray lined with a paper towel so that the eggplant can drain. Pretty simple. For the sauce, I'm taking some inspiration from a Chinese fried eggplant recipe that my grandpa used to make. We're just going to go in with equal parts of oyster sauce, soy sauce, rice vinegar, and sugar. This is going to get reduced until it gets nice and sticky. Then we're going to toss in our little fried eggplant pieces until they're nice and glazed and ready to go. These taste pretty good on their own, and I gotta say, fed a lot of these to the crew before we proceeded with the video, so there was less to be used for the sandwich. Good thing we made a lot. The sandwich seen at the top of the stacked ham sandwich has shrimp in it, so we decided to go with a scampi-like shrimp. In a large saucepan, we're gonna throw in 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 cloves of minced garlic, a teaspoon of chili flakes, and just let that get bubbly before we throw in about a pound of shrimp. For seasoning, a heavy sprinkle of salt and a fresh squeezed half of a lemon for some extra acidity and brightness. Once the shrimp is fully cooked, about 2 minutes per side, and everything is pink and nothing is that palish blue color, these are just going to hold on to the side until we're ready to use them. Now we're going to get our bread started. On a sheet tray lined with the rack, we're going to go with 4 slices of rectangular whole wheat bread and 4 slices of this whole wheat round sandwich bread that you can sometimes see at the store to make more compact sandwiches. These are going to go toast in the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes until they're, well, nice and toasty. The eggplant sandwich at the bottom has nice little rings of avocado, so we're going to take an avocado, cut off the tip, and try to peel off the entire thing without ruining any of its exterior. I'm just going to brush this with a bit of a lemon to have some precautionary measures against browning. Take out the pit and cut these into relatively thin avocado rings, about let's say 1/4 inch thick. Once we have these rings all ready to go, we're going to go ahead and assemble our first sandwich. First goes down a bed of our nicely cut avocado rings, then a generous heaping pile of our fried and glazed eggplant, which I've been snacking on since we made it. Whoops, there's a little bit less now than before. And on top of that goes a couple of those tomato slices from earlier. To finish, a nice little leaf of that leafy lettuce that you can just get from the grocery store. And well, that is sandwich number 1. On goes the toasted top bun that we put in the oven, and we're gonna let this hang out with the toothpick to stay together until we are ready to actually stack the whole thing. Nice. For our second sandwich, I'm going to take a nice whole loaf of ciabatta that we have here. I didn't toast this because I like the chewiness that we have from the bread. We're going to make a little bit of mustard mayo to have as a sauce for this sandwich. Equal parts mustard and mayo mixed together with a squeeze of lemon juice. Make sure to take out the seeds because sometimes they fall in, and well, that's a crunch we don't like to have in this sandwich. Let's give each slice of bread a generous helping of this mustard mayo, fill in those cracks, and start with a bed of lettuce first. Then we're going to take this beautiful thick cut Black Forest deli ham and kind of fold it into like a non-suspect shape, like a wave. Because in the picture and in the video from the game, it's kind of like a Golgi apparatus. That's probably the closest thing I can say that this thing looks like. So we're going to do a little bit of styling, use a little bit of toothpicks and cut it and fold it so that we get a nice little ham wave accordion pattern. I think this is how you would see these in catalogs, and I will say it does make the sandwich look extra good than just laying it flat horizontally. I overcooked those sweet potato chips in that oven because I forgot to take them out, so we just took a whole sweet potato, microwaved it with a wet paper towel for about 5 minutes, and sliced it because that's how soft it is. That's gonna go right on top of the lettuce, and on goes our top bun, held together by 2 extra toothpicks because this Golgi apparatus is very difficult. For our third sandwich, we're gonna take 2 of those toasted wheat slices from earlier, spread each side with a little bit of mustard mayonnaise, lay down some lettuce, and 4 slices of honey ham folded in a rectangular shape. Now we're gonna make some shredded lettuce. Take a head of lettuce, cut them very thinly with a knife, as thin as you can, until you get a big bunch that we're gonna salt to help draw out some of the moisture and put back on the sandwich on top of that ham. For our fourth and final sandwich, we're gonna take those toasted wheat circle breads from earlier, give a nice base layer of tomatoes, add the rest of our remaining avocado rings, and delicately layer our garlic butter scampi shrimp right on top. This is mostly a shrimp and avocado sandwich, so we're gonna give this a second ring of avocado, and on goes our top bun. Toothpick that in for stability, and now it is time to assemble the entire stacked sandwich all together. To be video game accurate, we're gonna start with the eggplant vegetable sandwich, top that with that ham folded apparatus, go on with the shredded lettuce and honey ham sandwich, and then we're gonna throw on our shrimp and avocado tomato sandwich right on top. To make it stable, we're gonna throw a dowel in just so that this thing doesn't fall over. And for the final touch, a little olive, because well, you need an olive with your sandwich. And I present to you our version of the stacked ham sandwich from Final Fantasy 15. 4 different sandwiches, 4 different things going on, and a lot of food on one plate. But we're not gonna cut this open and eat this just yet, because I do have an idea that would make this a little bit more realistic. Remember that bread bowl from earlier? We got that because I had this idea of making a shooter style sandwich. I'd seen these on Reddit a couple times in the past, and it involves taking a whole bread bowl, hollowing out all of the bread meat or the soft parts of the bread inside. Don't worry, we'll use those breadcrumbs for later, and layering all the components of a stacked sandwich in one by one. So I'm gonna compress all of that sandwich materials that we made earlier into one big sandwich. So a little bit of avocado and lemon goes down first, then we're gonna follow up with our eggplant. This is following the same order of layering as the other sandwiches, just compressed. On goes the tomato, laid neatly in a nice slice, and I'm kind of running out of room here, so I'm just gonna press down really hard with this next layer of ham. On goes the thick cut deli ham, a nice layer of our sweet potato that I'm now going to try and push and shimmy into one single layer so that there is no air gaps whatsoever. On top of this, I just thought a little bit of cheese could help, even though it's not in the original sandwich. So we're gonna take some American cheese that we found in the fridge and add a nice layer to it and press it down. On goes our honey ham layer. That's going to go right on top of the cheese. And if you notice that I'm skipping a lot of the lettuce, and that's well because I think it would just kind of get mushy and watery in there. We're gonna take the mustard mayo that we have from earlier, brush that on top, and then go ahead with our avocado rings. Packed and pressed tightly so that there are no gaps in the rings from earlier. The remainder of our shrimp goes on top. We are now on the 4th layer of the 4th sandwich. I'm gonna pack that in real tight, and as we're running out of room, finally finish with a thin layer of the tomato. Then a nice spreading of mustard mayo on the top cap. Then we're gonna place the cap right on and wrap this entire thing very tightly in aluminum foil. After this is wrapped, we're going to put this into the oven and cook this for about 10 to 15 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The point isn't to cook this stuff. The point is to kind of warm and soften all the things together. Hence why I also didn't put lettuce in this sandwich. Once the sandwich has finished heating thoroughly in the oven, we're gonna take this out, place a little bit of a, let's say, cardboard thing or anything that will help even out the pressure, and put an entire cast iron pot right on top. The goal here is to really compress this sandwich into its even layers, so we're gonna need some weight. Here's the new Basics with Babish cookbook that is out now. It's a great book with lots of recipes, which also means it's very thick and it's very heavy, hence being the perfect weight and assistant to our shooter sandwich. This is gonna go and compress for about an hour, and which you can see has really taken a toll on our sandwich and made it a lot flatter, even though it was fully packed to the brim. Now we take our sandwich out, which clearly has probably shrunken in half, and as you can see, we have now made a compressed version of the stacked ham sandwich in bread bowl form. Let's give this a cut and see the cross section. Oh yeah, this is my favorite part about making these sandwiches, because there's so many layers and because it's compressed and there's so many things, the cross section is quite beautiful. Now we can get to the tasting. This is the fun part. How does this all taste together in one single bite? We're gonna go ahead and attempt to cross section this stacked ham sandwich, even with the help of a dowel is, oh, yeah, this sandwich has fallen over. Okay, there's going to be no cross section today. This is one of those situations, because we put so many things inside of it, doesn't actually taste like too many, just kind of tastes like ham. which is what the sandwich is supposed to be about. That all those other things kind of get lost. It's still very good. You can get some of the eggplant, but it's a little bit too monotone, which sounds so weird. I think the verdict among all 4 of us in the studio was that the fried eggplant sandwich was the best. It had the most flavor, it had the most texture, and even though the other sandwiches were good, we definitely ate that one first. And then we made Steve take home all the rest, because we don't like wasting and he likes food. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. They've been a great partner in supporting the Babish culinary universe and bringing my websites to life. From websites to online stores to domains and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for you to build your online presence. They also have SEO tools so that your site is getting found and searched by more people more often. If you want to try it for yourself, you can start your free trial today by visiting squarespace.com/Babish to get 10% off your first purchase.